Wow, it's good to be back. I've been here for the last few years, so I'll give you an update on progress we made with our on-demand capabilities. It's been quite a journey, quite a long ride for us, but we are reaching maturity, so I want to share with you some progress and some thoughts about what we have learned so far. But maybe let me start again with the underlying capabilities. We keep investing into our physical assets. We're still an asset-rich company. Over the last year, we launched two new metropolitan networks in Hong Kong and Singapore. I think it's important to reflect on the fact that we need connectivity to be able to deliver on-demand capabilities, especially with the world now moving more and more into data center space, with cloud becoming prominent for both public and private type of implementation. In particular, we keep connecting the data centers, third-party and Colt DCs across the world. We have over 800 connected now, and that's key for us to be able to spin up connectivity on demand. Same for customer buildings, 25,000 buildings connected over fiber across Europe. Key investment have been focused in Asia over the last year, but we keep expanding across the world. So more investment coming for 2018. Let's talk for a moment about key trends, specifically for enterprise and the market. I think it's hard to see companies today that are not focusing on digitalization. I've been talking to a number of enterprises. Everybody has a digital program in some form or shape ongoing. So it's a general trend in the industry. And typically that involves some sort of automation. So everybody's talking about the BPO, removing existing manual processes with the help of IT, with the help of software. Depending on the industry, can take different shapes, but is across the board. Across the industry also, there is a shift to a subscription-based model and cloud. I think the two things together, cloud has been going on for quite a while. We see our customers more and more moving into the cloud space. We focus only on enterprise, so the business market only. And it's been a slow process for some of them, but it's now taken some level of pace. And especially what we see is distribution across multiple different locations, so public and private cloud, multiple data centers, which makes the network far more important than before in terms of reaching out to these locations. Subscription-based model, I think, is also a general trend. We see it also for us in the supplier space. It's hard now to find anything that is not subscription-based. So it changes a little bit also the investment perspective for us. And last, but also another key trend is data-driven decision-making. Again, going back to the enterprise, everybody is looking at how to leverage the incredible amount of data we are able to collect. And if you look at telecom in particular, everybody goes around with a mobile phone. The amount of data we are able to collect from usage is significant. So there is we need to leverage these capabilities to be able to drive differentiation. So these results, and I also stole something from the Cisco VNI, is quite handy for this type of stats. The growth in the fixed internet traffic has been significant and continues to be significant. Over the next 5 years, is predicted to be over than 20%, and that drives again investment into the underlying capabilities. So what does it mean for our customers? Higher bandwidth, obviously. The WAN connectivity requirements are still growing double-digit, and some of the new services we also launched, SD-WAN, are growing faster, starting from a smaller base, of course, but they are picking up and surpassing the traditional IP VPN investment for enterprises. Cost is still a requirement, even though now telecom and NIT has moved away from being just a simple cost center for enterprises. Still, efficiency is of paramount importance. And speed in general, agility, faster delivery, is becoming a key requirement. We see a lot of customers now buying cloud services and connectivity together. It's one of the key propositions we have, driving faster delivery time. So the same is applicable for in-life service management. So across the end-to-end, from ordering, delivering, and supporting services. So besides the investment in the network, we've been busy with updating our portfolio to high bandwidth, so we scaled this up an order of magnitude, and obviously continuing our investment in on-demand and SD-WAN services. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. In a nutshell, I think this is key for our proposition. We moved away from traditional product. The definition of IPVPN, Ethernet, point-to-point, hub-and-spoke, internet access doesn't work anymore with the on-demand proposition. We can deliver the same type of services, but the definition now is component-based. There's been a fundamental shift. There's been a transition throughout the last couple of years since we launched this capability. You can build connectivity services from ports and connections, Ethernet port, cloud ports is a fundamental component as well, Internet port, connectivity, a layer 2, layer 3, a layer 1 as well, and value-added services on top of it. So this enables customers to start to play with the capabilities and build their own services in a much more flexible way than before. We deliver this on a flexible basis or on a fixed basis. We still support the existing business model with purchase for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, but we can offer flexibility up to the contract can last just an hour. You pay for the connectivity, spin it up, and then spin it down. The consumption model we have put in place is 2 options, portal-based or API-based. So far, the portal has been the main prominent adoption. So I just mention this, very, very simple, reserve a port, create a connection between ports and modify after you have launched, after you have created this capability. Or the API-based approach that is more applicable to the carrier-to-carrier type of interconnect. So if I now reflect on our journey, it's probably a couple of years since we launched. We launched a minimum viable product 2 years ago, and then reached some level of maturity last year with a full market launch, expanded our coverage to Asia, to all our on-net buildings. And so we now start to have a sizable amount of customers on the platform. We can start to drive some conclusions and some learnings. First one, everybody loves the speed of delivery. Is the key selling point that we have been seeing since we launched. Not so much so far the in-life bandwidth flexing up and down. It's I think it's a learning process for customers. It's like a few years ago when customers started to use cloud connectivity, cloud services, and then at that time maybe didn't know exactly how to use that level of flexibility. So we're seeing this same trend within Colt. Everybody loves the cloud, so we sell dedicated cloud access. So typically, I think it's half of the connection we have sold are a combination of a cloud port and a connectivity. So the 2 capabilities together makes quite a nice option. Last kind of a key learning for us has been we need to be able to fit these capabilities into the procurement process of our customers. It's all nice to be able to sell this online, but some of our customers, actually many of our customers, have a sourcing process which needs some level of approval, adoption. I was in a meeting a couple of months ago, and one of our customers referred to this as like shadow IT. I took that as a compliment because it's really comparing us with the cloud providers, but it is important to reflect on the fact that we need to be able to let customers use their own processes to especially during this transition period, to be able to order services. The capability we built, I think you may have seen this before if you follow Colt. We built an in-house port capability, which is an orchestration tool called Novitas. This is the core of our capability. We have been working with a number of vendors below to actually build the underlying controller layers and network layers. You can see lots of names. I'm hoping I haven't forgotten anybody, so everybody should be happy with it. So the model we have in place is we build the underlying network controller on top of it, and then our own business orchestration tool capability on top of it. Since last year, we introduced a multi-domain orchestration layer in between to be able to glue together the different controller. We have expanded the propositions to Azure and Amazon in terms of cloud connectivity. And I've been working with MEF, we'll talk about it in a moment, on the API to make it standard, to make it really consumable from the multi-carrier point of view. So it's quite a journey for us. Still, this is part of our overall OSS environment and connect back with our end tools. A key challenge also we've been facing is dealing with all the data sets and data models. So traditional OSS and BSS have been built in a certain manner, so we have been able to and have been challenged to adapt this to the old world. So what's new from last year? Federation, I think we took a significant step forward. Axel was talking about the POC disease. Yet another POC at MEF 17, but a step forward. You may have seen press release yesterday, I think, about Sonata and the MEF LSO APIs. A number of operators, I think quite a few, have come together to develop this common language across carriers and enterprises as well. So it's applicable to all kinds of customers to be able to create this SDN and NI capability. So there is a POC with a number of partners at MEF next month. But at the same time, it's not just a POC. I think we have also been working in the background on bilateral interconnect. So watch this space. There will be some announcement in a short timescales about us and others setting up proper production-based interconnector to be able to buy and sell services. This is a key fundamental shift from the traditional purchasing sourcing model. Everybody has a carrier purchasing group. We are moving to a model where the purchasing between carriers is going to be fully digital. Optical SDN, the next investment, you probably saw in the previous slides, we don't have all the boxes filled in terms of the underlying capabilities. We've been focusing primarily on packet services. We have an ongoing optical SDN, elastic optical, we call it, investigation activity. It's going to follow the same model, controller layer, and the underlying infrastructure. Some key technologies enabling this. In the optical space, there's been significant evolution in this space to enable us to be able to control this in a flexible manner. Super channel, advanced modulation, advanced programmable ROADM, GMPLS, I think has been around for a while, but the combination of all these capabilities enable us to create these on-demand services. The intent, and maybe a couple of comments on the use cases, is similar to what we have done for Ethernet and IP services, so creating on-demand connectivity between endpoints and being able to modify that connectivity on a real-time basis. Disaster recovery has come up also as a significant key requirement, so being able to reserve ports A and B and being able to spin connectivity up if something happens. So work in progress here. Also work in progress, we have been fast in terms of adoption of services, so often sometimes we have not paid too much attention to the full end-to-end standardization, so we're working now on on a full unified NFV architecture. So the current situation is that we have some inefficiencies in terms of the use of the underlying computer networking infrastructure. So to be able to launch services faster, we have taken some pragmatic decisions to launch with existing capabilities. That creates complexity in the operational models, and on the long run will also create additional cost. I think it's okay for the moment. We need to evolve. So the plan is following the ETSI model to validate and invest into a common NFVI across all our services, and a common orchestration layer and VNF manager layer on top of it. It's a challenge, in particular for the orchestration layer. What we see still in the industry, there's still a lot of work to be done in terms of harmonization, lots of projects ongoing, ONAP, OSM, so you name it, there is plenty of initiatives to choose from, and so we need to be able to come up with something which is scalable and long-term enough. I think we are not forgetting the fact that there is still a journey, there will still be significant evolution in this space, but we're going to go ahead and select and deploy this in 2018. Another new initiative, AI-driven networking, we call it Project Sentio in Colt. So I think some of the other speakers mentioned already this type of cognitive networking capabilities. The intent is to be able to automate the management of the service end-to-end. In particular, I'm mentioning here a few use cases, classification of traffic flows, optimization of the network, predicting faults. I think there are some technologies available today that can do that already. Security is a big opportunity here. There are a number of use cases in this space. Restoration is another one, automatically being able to create services depending on specific situations and predicting specific situations. Scaling, of course, managing capacity needs to move away from the static planning process to a more dynamic process with a move to compute. And last but not least, building on our capabilities, intelligent bandwidth on demand, so being able to modify service characteristics on the fly based on specific situations we see in the customer network, in the overall production network. So far, some of the learnings, I haven't mentioned that we start to see networking as an application rather than just an infrastructure capability. This because primarily is becoming part of the customer environment, the customer ecosystem, so it's playing at the same level as customer applications. So being able to deliver networking capability and networking application and hooking that up together with the underlying IT infrastructure and application capabilities is an important considerations to make. Agile development, we've been working on a very agile development model. You have to embrace this approach to be able to deliver faster. So we've been launching new capabilities on a almost bi-weekly basis. So we moved away from the traditional process. The need to work with partners and competition. So we really are moving away from a model where we have our own capabilities, so working with partners has been significant, sharing information to be able to build capabilities, but also with competition. We are doing much more work than we did before in terms of engaging third parties and competitors. Complexity is moving away from the hardware to the software, so need to be careful about what we do in this space. We don't want to end up with hundreds of networking tools moving along the same path as IT. We have sometimes even thousands IT systems in place. So there is a pragmatic approach that needs to be taken here between investing into best-of-breed capabilities versus maybe some aggregated capabilities. Customers, I think we put that in front of our building process. There is a significant engagement, so we now have customers as part of our development model, not anymore spend a lot of time building capabilities and then launching something to market, and maybe discovering wasn't quite what the customer wanted. Organization and processes and skills, it's an important consideration to make. We have changed our organizations to be shaped around delivering on demand, so there is now IT, network, and product, and to some extent operations in the same area, working within the company, not as an isolated function, but within the company, to deliver this agile development model. Simplification is important. You can't just translate the existing services to the new world. So there has to be, and I was talking about componentization. It is fundamental to look at the service definition and redefine it in a way that allow us to benefit from this simplified component-based model. So we have been working extensively on that. As I said, engaging customers has been fundamental for us. We don't do any more back-end development without having constant customer engagement. So with this, thank you. If you want to watch our demo, there is a booth upstairs, or there is something available on YouTube. Thank you.